80% of betrayals happen within your inner circle, the moment you taste success. It's not about emotions, it's about math.
While you're climbing, your friends are calculating how dangerous you're becoming to them. They're asking themselves one question: if he becomes a god, what does that make me?
Today, I'm giving you 8 Machiavellian protocols to spot a traitor before they strike. At the end, the silence protocol, a forced exposure method.
Drop a comment saying, "I see the truth." Let's begin. I'm going to enjoy this.
Niccolo Machiavelli left us with one of the most cynical yet honest truths in history. Men forget the death of their father sooner than the loss of their patrimony or status. This is the bedrock of human nature. When you start growing, you're unintentionally committing a crime against your circle. You're taking away their right to feel normal. Your old friends are used to seeing you as an equal. You spent years in the same dive bars, whining about the unfair world. They were comfortable in that swamp because no one stood out. You were the safe guy, predictable, mediocre. Your failure was their insurance policy.
In psychology, we call this crab mentality. When one crab tries to climb out of the bucket, the others pull him back down. Not always out of conscious malice, but out of self-preservation. Your success nukes their comfort zone.
Your friends love you as long as you are a mirror image of them. The moment you change, you become a stranger who terrifies them. Look at Julius Caesar. He wasn't killed because he was a bad ruler. He was a genius.
He was killed because he became too big for the Roman Senate. His greatness made the senators feel irrelevant. They couldn't level up to him, so they had to delete him to feel powerful again. The moment you make a move, buy that car, launch that business, or just start walking with confidence, you turn them into losers just by existing.
They don't need a mirror to see their own laziness. They see it in your results. Your success is a daily slap in the face. This is where betrayal is born. To them, it's not evil. It's the only way to restore justice in their heads. They don't need a mirror to see their own laziness. They see it in your results. Your success is a daily slap in the face. This is where betrayal is. It's social inertia. They need to drag you back into the mud so they can breathe again. In their eyes, you're an upstart who broke the rules. The marker? If you've leveled up and your friends are still on the same couch with the same complaints, expect a hit. They won't forgive you for making it when they didn't. They'll smile to your face, but they're waiting for your first stumble to give you that final push. It's not personal. It's the biology of envy. The old pack always tries to maul the one who decided to become the alpha of a different forest. Get one thing straight. Anyone can play the pity card. Any mediocre person can whine along with you when you're down. Your tragedies, debts, and failures make those around you feel strong, wise, and stable by comparison. When you're at rock bottom, you're safe. You're just an object for their cheap sympathy. But to genuinely, deeply rejoice in your triumph, that is hellish, almost impossible work for the human ego. Your success hits their self-esteem harder than a direct insult. In today's world,
You see this everywhere. Look at your social media.
Post about your problems or how burnt out you are, and you'll get dozens of supportive comments. But post a photo of a new car or a massive wire transfer. The reach drops. The likes from your close friends vanish. This is the digital form of envy. People physically cannot bring themselves to hit that approve button on your triumph.
To smoke out these hidden enemies, we use the 3 seconds of truth technique. Your assignment: at your next meeting with a friend or partner, tell them about a major win. Speak confidently, use dry facts, and offer 0 apologies. The moment you finish your sentence, shut up.
Just be silent for 3 seconds and look them straight in the pupils. Those 3 seconds of silence will be torture for them. In that moment, their conscious mind is frantically hunting for the right words, while their subconscious is already leaking the truth all over their face. Don't look at the whole face. Focus on the nasolabial triangle and the corners of the eyes. Modern psychology calls this the stewardess smile or the Pan Am smile. It's a purely mechanical movement. Real laughter and joy engage the entire face. A fake one? Only the mouth. If you see the lips stretch, but the muscles around the eyes, those crow's feet, remain dead, you're looking at a mask. Behind it, you can hear the sound of teeth grinding. Real joy is an involuntary contraction of the orbicularis oculi muscle. If the eyes stay cold while the mouth is smiling, you're looking at a traitor. If you catch the corners of their lips twitching downward for a fraction of a second, or their eyes narrowing as if they've just seen something unpleasant, that's it. This is a micro-expression or a contempt leak. Their limbic system snitched on them before they could pull on their best friend theater mask. Genuine joy is always an expansion. Eyebrows lift, facial muscles relax, the gaze becomes open. Envy is always a physical contraction.
Watch their eyes closely. If the person suddenly looks down, starts adjusting their clothes, or reaches for their phone immediately after your news, their brain is trying to hide that gut reaction of rejection and switch their attention so they don't give themselves away. In business, this often manifests as toxic congratulations. They'll say, "Oh, cool, congrats. Just make sure you pay your taxes now or they'll come for you." That isn't care.
That is an immediate attempt to devalue your success and infect you with fear. If you notice that microscopic flinch, that 1-second facial spasm, know that a counter has already started in that person's head. They aren't celebrating your success. They are feverishly calculating how much your new status makes them feel worthless. Their congratulations after that pause will be too loud, their laughter too forced, their hug too tight.
But it's all a cover for the coldness that just flashed in their eyes. You just met your future enemy. Machiavelli knew, he who cannot endure your light will eventually try to blow it out, just so his own shadow doesn't look so short. Niccolo Machiavelli taught a ruthless strategy. Only listen to advice when you were the one who asked for it.
The moment you let someone pour unsolicited mentorship into your ears, you voluntarily hand over the reins of your life. In your circle, there will always be someone who turns your path to success into a minefield of doubts. This is the archetype of the anchor friend. Their primary marker, they start protecting you from your own ambitions, wearing the mask of your most loyal ally. Their words always sound logical, soft, and supposedly in your best interest. Look, I'm just genuinely worried about you.
The market is too unstable for this kind of spending right now. Aren't you afraid that if it doesn't work out, you'll lose everything and be left with nothing? Maybe you should just lay low, gain some more experience, and wait for a better moment. In modern life, this is toxic rationality.
For example, when you decide to quit a job you hate to launch your own project, this friend is the first to say, "But what about the mortgage? What about the insurance? Have you seen the failure stats for startups in the first year?" They don't want to help you prepare. They want you to get scared and stay in the same line for free coffee with them. This triggers the false projection of fear technique. You must understand the mechanics. A traitor of this type projects their own limitations onto you.
When an anchor says, "You'll go broke," they are actually making a full confession. What they really mean is, "I would definitely go broke in your shoes because I'm a coward, and it's unbearably painful for me to realize that you might succeed where I didn't even dare to try." Their care isn't a shield for you, it's a set of shackles. When an anchor talks to you about caution, they are building a fence around your future, using the bricks of their own personal complexes.
Don't let them wall in your potential inside their own graveyard of ambition. Remember, once and for all, this person isn't looking out for your wallet or your safety. They are deathly afraid of the day you launch into the stratosphere of success, while they remain rotting on that same saggy couch. Your risk is their personal nightmare, because your success will finally put an end to the question of your equality.
A traitor of this type never attacks openly. They don't throw a knife at your face. They act like a slow-acting poison. They friendly snip at the hamstrings of your will, so you can't run faster than they can. They use your fear as a lever. Every time you share a bold idea, their brain isn't looking for ways to make it happen. It's feverishly hunting for reasons why it's impossible.
This is the most dangerous form of social sabotage. If your ambitions and ideas constantly collide with their caring resistance, realize that this person has already chosen the side of your failure. They want you to stay just as small, weak, and predictable as they are. Machiavelli understood. A ruler who listens to those who fear the slightest risk loses their crown before the battle even begins. Because in the world of power, standing still means you've already lost.
Niccolo Machiavelli hated flatterers even more than open enemies. He knew that an open enemy forces you to keep your shield up, but a flatterer convinces you that you don't need the shield at all. Flattery is psychological anesthesia injected into your consciousness right before they gut you. When your vigilance falls asleep to sweet talk, you become the perfect target.
In the modern world, this manifests through the halo effect. When someone starts broadcasting your exceptionalism, your brain switches off its critical filter. In a corporate environment, this often looks like sudden adoration from a colleague who is actually gunning for your position. They will praise your intuition exactly where you made a mistake, ensuring you don't catch it in time to fix it.
The marker, a sudden shift in the temperature of communication. If someone in your circle who was previously reserved, objective, or even critical suddenly starts praising your every word and showering you with unprovoked compliments, that's not a recognition of your merit. That is a red flag. In strategic psychology, This is called overplaying.
Internally, the traitor feels disgusted by the plans they are brewing. Their fear of exposure forces them to compensate for the future strike with excessive warmth today. They are trying to drown your caution in a bucket of cheap honey, so you relax, lose focus, and stop asking questions. When the brain receives flattery, it releases dopamine. You literally become stupid with pleasure. Your critical thinking is paralyzed by the joy hormone, while your loyal ally picks the spot for the blade. It's a biological hack. The flatterer weaponizes your need for validation to blind you. The technique, the pattern break. To rip off the mask, use a sudden pivot. When they start piling on the praise, interrupt them with harsh, even exaggerated self-criticism. Say, "Look, honestly, this project is a total disaster. I botched the fundamentals, the numbers don't add up, and I've let the team down. Didn't you notice how it's all falling apart?"
Watch the reaction in real time. The sincere ally will either agree with you, "Yeah, I noticed that too. Let's go back to the drawing board," or they will argue constructively, using real facts. Their goal is the result, not your ego. The traitor, who needs to keep you in a state of euphoria at all costs, will keep blazing you. "No way, what are you talking about? It's a genius move. Even the mistakes look like part of a bigger plan. You're just being too hard on yourself. You're the best in the business."
He doesn't care about the truth. He just needs you to stay asleep until the trap snaps shut. Remember, if someone praises your fall as loudly as your eyes, they are simply waiting for the impact. The mechanics. Flattery is a smokescreen.
History is full of great leaders who fell because they fired their critics and kept only yes men around them. If the praise directed at you has become suspiciously thick, you are being prepped for the slaughter. Machiavelli warned that the only way to protect yourself from flattery is to let people know that the truth does not offend you. But a traitor will never tell you the truth. They will feed you sugar until you go blind. If it feels like you're being loved too much for no apparent reason, check your six. Poison is always served in the finest crystal. Here is Machiavelli's most paradoxical and brutal thought. The person you saved from ruin might become your first executioner. We are taught that kindness breeds loyalty. But in the real world of power and ambition, kindness often breeds hatred. Why? Because debt is a set of psychological shackles that crush the ego every single day. This is the reverse Benjamin Franklin effect. Franklin knew that to make someone like you, you shouldn't do them a favor, you should ask them for one. When we are helped, our ego shrinks. But when you are the one providing the rescue, especially on a large scale, you create a dangerous power imbalance. If you want a loyal ally, let them help you. If you want a hidden enemy, solve all their problems at your own expense.
In modern life, this shows up in business and mentorship. Think of the mentor who pours everything into a student, only for that student, once they've gained strength, to be the first to undermine the teacher or defect to a competitor with the client list. It's not just ingratitude. It's the mind's attempt to erase the fact that without the teacher, the student was a nobody. People hate feeling obligated.
When you pull someone out of the dirt, pay off their debts, or save their career, you automatically stand above them. Now you are a living monument to their shame.
Every time they see you, they don't remember your generosity. They remember their own worthlessness at the moment they couldn't survive without you. This is the savior allergy. The person you pulled out of the noose is subconsciously waiting for a moment to get even for that humiliating feeling of inadequacy.
The marker, a sudden hostility toward the benefactor. The easiest way for a snake to cancel an unbearable debt is to eliminate the creditor, morally or physically. If someone you helped suddenly starts snapping at you over trifles, or demonstrably forgets your contributions in public settings, it's not an accident. Their psyche is trying to devalue your help, so they don't feel like a permanent debtor.
They will tell others, "He only helped because it made him look good," or "I would have handled it eventually. He just forced his way in." The technique, dosed support. To avoid becoming a victim of your own kindness, never do all the work for someone. Help them just enough so they can take the next step themselves. If you carry them to the finish line on your back, they will hate you at the finish line.
Once they devalue your act in their head, they are free from the burden of gratitude. Now they can betray you with a perfectly clear conscience. Machiavelli warned, benefits should be conferred in small portions and very cautiously. Too much help turns an ally into a slave, and a slave always dreams of killing the master to burn the promissory note.
If you saved someone and now you feel coldness, arrogance, or unexplained aggression coming from them, know that the blade is already unsheathed. To them, you are the witness of their weakness who needs to be deleted. In Machiavelli's world, it's not the kindest who survive, but those who understand that nobility must be strategic, otherwise it becomes your death warrant. If a specific face just popped into your head, don't jump to conclusions yet. The next protocol will show if this person is actually digging your grave, or if they're just weak.
Niccolo Machiavelli knew, "He who holds the information holds the state." But in the hands of a traitor, your personal information becomes targeting data for their artillery. Understand this: a traitor doesn't want your soul or your feelings. They want your passwords. In a broad sense, these are the access points to your assets, your connections, and your fears.
In the modern era, this is called social engineering. A traitor doesn't blow the door off your safe. They trick you into bringing the keys out on a silver platter under the guise of a friendly chat. In business, this looks like a colleague's sudden interest in your relationship with the board or your tax optimization methods. In lishny жизни, it's a friend asking exactly whose name your property is under or what legal leverage you have over your partners. The marker, a sudden shift in the focus of attention. A person who has discussed football or the weather with you for years suddenly starts showing a suspicious interest in the engine of your life. They start casting hooks. Hey, who really controls the supply chain? How are you planning to bypass the new regulations? Who's your most trusted person on the team? The one who holds it all together. This isn't idle curiosity. This is reconnaissance. To protect yourself, we use the false trail technique. You must learn to seize the initiative in the moment. The second you hear a suspicious question about money, plans, or the secret sauce of your success, do not rush to answer. Pause and use a counter question. Say calmly, with a slight smile, "That's interesting. Why do you ask about that right now?" Watch the reaction in real time.
The traitor will begin to make excuses, fidget, or give a long, convoluted explanation for the importance of their question. They've been caught off guard. Their camouflage has cracked because they had a target, but they hadn't prepared a legend.
The sincere person will answer simply and logically. Remember, a question is a bullet. Before you answer, see where the barrel is pointed. If you feel pressure, use the information fog technique. Give answers that sound solid, but carry zero specificities.
A traitor is looking for your Achilles heel, the exact spot where a strike will be most painful and effective. They are harvesting data on your debts, the weak spots in your contracts, or your personal secrets. In Machiavelli's strategy, knowing an enemy's weakness is half the victory. If you give them this data, you are handing the enemy a loaded pistol and holding it to your own temple.
The moment a spy feels where you are thin, that is exactly where they will tear you apart at your most critical moment. Information is the currency of power. Machiavelli warned, guard your secrets as if your life depends on them, because it does. Don't feed the spy.
Niccolo Machiavelli knew the safest way to destroy a powerful opponent is to make sure his own people do it for you. A clever traitor is a puppeteer who never enters the fray with his visor up. Why risk himself when he can force you to burn all your bridges with your own hands? His primary goal is to create a zone of scorched earth around you.
This is where the classic dark psychology tactic comes in: triangulation. The traitor artificially creates a triangle where he is the only good middleman and everyone else is your hidden enemy. He becomes the lens through which you view reality. In a modern office, he whispers that the sales department hates you, then tells them you think they're all lazy.
The marker, the carrier pigeon. This person constantly brings you classified updates on how poorly others are speaking of you. He isn't opening your eyes, he is poisoning your mind with paranoia. His goal is to pit you against every real ally you have.
In Machiavellian strategy, this is divide and conquer. While you waste time and nerves fighting with John, the traitor remains the only loyal person in your field of vision. He becomes your only window to the world, and that is exactly what makes you his hostage. To break this game, use the direct contact method.
Never make radical decisions based on a middleman's words. The moment the pigeon delivers a dose of venom, use the confrontation technique. Say, "That's interesting. Let's call John on speakerphone right now and clear this up together." Watch the reaction. The traitor will turn pale and start backpedaling. Niccolo Machiavelli knew, when you cannot find the enemy, you must create the conditions for him to step into the light. The silence protocol isn't just a test, it's a surgical operation to extract the rat from your foundation. In intelligence, this is known as the canary trap. You give each suspect a different version of the same secret. For the trap to snap shut, we use the information echo technique. You shouldn't just lie. You must give the traitor exactly what he's subconsciously waiting for: news of your weakness. The lie must be juicy. It must give the enemy the feeling that you are vulnerable right now. A traitor won't run to report your successes. Those only make him angry.
The strategy. Pick 3 or 4 people from your inner circle. To each, confidentially, feed a unique version of your catastrophe.
The anchoring technique. Add a specific detail, a dollar amount, a name, or a date. Each lie is a radioactive marker tied to a specific person.
And here begins the hardest part. Shut up. Enter a phase of total silence for 3 days. Don't call them, don't text, vanish from social media. In Machiavellian strategy, silence is a vacuum that a traitor physically cannot endure.
The rat will start to scramble, needing to sell this secret or prepare for survival. In modern practice, this works instantly. If a week later, a third party asks, "I heard your accounts are being frozen. Do you need a lawyer?" Congratulations. You have just seen the face of your executioner.
Remember the ultimate truth. Betrayal is an inevitable tax on your greatness. No one betrays a nobody. Knives are only ever found in the backs of those leading the pack. If rats have appeared in your life, it means you finally built something worth stealing.
Niccolo Machiavelli taught that a prince must master the traits of two beasts, the lion and the fox. You need the fox to recognize the traps and the lion to tear the wolves apart. Today, you've learned how to be the fox. Now, it is time to release the lion. Many people endure traitors for years because they are terrified of being alone.
Understand this: a void in your inner circle is not a vacuum. It is open territory for truly powerful and loyal allies. In modern life, this works like an OS update. Until you delete the old corrupted files, the system will never fly. You cannot invite lions into your life while your house is infested with rats.
From this moment on, stop listening to what people say. Watch what they do. During your moments of triumph and your moments of silence. Machiavelli warned that he who builds on oaths builds on sand. He who builds on facts builds a fortress.
Today, you've received your social X-ray. Your inner circle is no longer a blind spot. To cement this lesson and signal to your subconscious that you are no longer a victim, take 3 steps. First, subscribe to this channel.
This is your daily headquarters, where we deconstruct the anatomy of power and the mechanics of dark psychology. Second, like this video. This is your personal manifesto to the algorithms. You want the brutal truth, not the sweet lies. And third, right now, in the comments, type the phrase, "I have launched the silence protocol."
Let this be your point of no return. Let those who are used to parasitizing your trust feel the ground beneath them turn to fire. From this moment, the rules of the game have changed. You no longer beg for loyalty. You create the conditions where betrayal is impossible.
Rats fear the light, and they fear the silence. You just turned on both. Your time has started. Your move. Act. Right now.